I served in the United States Marine Corps. I went to Iraq for this country. I built a business for this country, and my running mate took a bullet for this country. What the hell have you done to question our loyalty to the United States of America?
Who is JD Vance?
That is the question that has dogged the 39-year-old senator from Ohio along his peculiar path to power. His journey began in 2016 with the publication of his best-selling memoir, Hillbilly Elegy, and culminated this week when former President Donald Trump selected him as a running mate for the 2024 election. During those 8 years, Vance has undergone a dramatic and, in the eyes of his critics, highly dubious political transformation. From blue-collar bard and self-described never-Trump conservative to hard-edged MAGA loyalist and dogged defender of the former president. Vance says he's had a genuine change of heart about Trump. His critics say he's cynically molded himself to the times. In the Senate, Vance has cultivated a dual identity as a key Trump ally and leader of the GOP's populist national wing. But who will he be as a vice presidential candidate? I'll be the first to admit that I've accomplished nothing great in my life, Vance wrote in the introduction to Hillbilly Elegy, his best-selling 2016 memoir about his life growing up in a working-class family in post-industrial Ohio. In 2015, 2 years after graduating from Yale Law School, Vance joined Mithril Capital, a venture capital firm run by the Silicon Valley scion Peter Thiel. In 2016, he announced his plans to move back to Ohio from California to start Our Ohio Renewal, a nonprofit dedicated to make it easier for disadvantaged children to achieve their dreams. In November 2022, he was elected to the United States Senate from Ohio with the help of over $10 million in donations from Thiel. It was his first public office. Reflecting on his first encounter with Thiel in 2011, Vance wrote, "Thiel articulated a feeling that I was obsessed with achievement in itself, not as an end to something meaningful, but to win a social competition. My worry that I had prioritized striving over character took on a heightened significance." Striving for what? He was born James Donald Bowman on August 2, 1984, in Middletown, Ohio, an industrial city 30 miles north of Cincinnati and 20 miles south of Dayton. His maternal grandparents, Jim and Bonnie Vance, known as Pawpaw and Mama, moved to Middletown in the late 1940s from Jackson, Kentucky, a town in the heart of southeastern Kentucky's coal region. Jim was 16. Bonnie was 13 and pregnant with Jim's child. They were unmarried at the time. Vance's biological parents, Donald Bowman and Bev Vance, divorced when he was a toddler. He was later adopted by his mother's new husband, Bob Hamill, and changed his name to James David Hamill. The name change preserved his nickname, JD. Bev and Bob later divorced, and Bev struggled with drug addiction. Vance was raised primarily by his grandparents, who were, he wrote in Hillbilly Elegy, "Without question or qualification, the best things that ever happened to me." Mama and Pawpaw were Union Democrats, except in 1984, when Pawpaw voted for Ronald Reagan. In Hillbilly Elegy, Vance described their political outlook as, "All politicians might be crooks, but if there were any exceptions, they were undoubtedly members of Franklin Delano Roosevelt's New Deal coalition." Growing up, Vance spent his summer vacations visiting his great-grandmother and extended family in Jackson. "I always distinguished my address from my home," he wrote in Hillbilly Elegy. "My address was where I spent most of my time with my mother and sister, wherever that might be. But my home never changed. My great-grandmother's house, in the Holler, in Jackson, Kentucky. To understand me, you must understand that I am a Scots-Irish hillbilly at heart," he wrote in Hillbilly Elegy. This Scots-Irish legacy entailed many good traits, but also many bad ones. We do not like outsiders or people who are different from us, whether the difference lies in how they look, how they act, or most importantly, how they talk. After graduating from Middletown High School in 2003, he enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq as a corporal with the Public Affairs Section of the 2nd Marine Aircraft Wing. "I served my country honorably, and I saw when I went to Iraq that I had been lied to, that the promises of the foreign policy establishment were a complete joke," he has said. He graduated from Ohio State University with a degree in political science and philosophy before enrolling at Yale Law School in 2010. While at Yale, he attended a talk by Thiel about technological stagnation and the decline of American elites. He saw these two trends as connected. Vance later recalled of his first encounter with Thiel. If technological innovation were actually driving real prosperity, our elites wouldn't feel increasingly competitive with one another over a dwindling number of prestigious outcomes. Vance has called Thiel's talk the most significant moment of his time at Yale. Vance began working on a memoir while at Yale at the suggestion of his mentor and battle hymn of the Tiger Mother author Amy Chua. I thought the idea that I could write a meaningful book was kind of arrogant and presumptuous. But then I started writing little things here and there, he has said. Another significant moment of his time at Yale, meeting Usha Chilukuri, his future wife and the mother of his 3 children. The couple married in 2014 and held a separate ceremony where they were blessed by a Hindu pundit.